Due to poor wireless connection. Due to poor wireless connection, my hair looks really weird. Okay, I have to close my eyes before I check. It feels weird. Okay. No, I'm good. I think it's on. I think it's on. Crapola. It looked good before I started touching it. Well, I think it looked good before I started touching it. Hey, Jeff Cooper. Pardon me. I think it's just you and me and maybe one or two other people. Let me just try to... What? I don't even know where it goes. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to touch it. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Long time no see, huh? Long time no see for any of you who tuned in last night to the Mod Betty Retro Road Husband show. That was kind of fun, at least for us. I hope it was fun for you. I know, Jeff, you've got the long distance dedication, literally dedication going on. Thank you, Debbie. Yeah, it's every day our hair grows longer unless it falls out, and it is so windy out here today. I realized, oh my God, I'm making it worse. I'm making it worse. I'm gonna stop. It's kind of like life. If something gets good, just don't touch it, and maybe. And that, my friend, is probably going to be the section of the video that Facebook decides to make the screenshot. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like Facebook will pick a random thing, and they will determine that that's going to be the thumbnail. So if anybody sees the video that we did last night, Cliff Hillis, Retro Road Husband, and I, we actually picked a screenshot that Facebook took that we thought was kind of funny. So you can watch that. But hey, everybody, welcome. As I said, long time no see. I feel like I was sitting here just a few, I don't know, maybe a little over 12 hours ago talking about Los Angeles. That was so much fun. And thank you all for showing up, those of you who did. And if you didn't, no big deal. If you're interested, you can still watch it. It's on the Retro Roadmap videos page on the Facebook page. And you might want to watch it. You see a lot of me, so I'm old hat, but Retro Road Husband Cliff Hillis actually played some songs. That was kind of fun. I had never realized until last night, I'll share this with you, that I have never sat, literally, I have not sat next to somebody playing the guitar so close. And it's actually really loud. It is. When you're sitting right there, they're loud. Anyhow, but hello, everybody. Thank you, Trina. Yeah, we'll see what it turns out like next week, but I was kind of hoping that some crazy like white streak or something would come up, but all I've got are like these little gray vines kind of coming around this way. But I'm going to embrace my sheltering in place hair, and I think it may inform my future hairdos or hair don'ts once we get out of here. But in any case, hope you're all doing well. Very windy day today here at the Hacienda, but it's sunny, and you guys can't see this, and if I thought I could give you a picture of it, I would. So when I am talking to you, just on the other side of me here, see, I'll even just do this. See, I've got a window, because this is where I organically decided to have my videos when we were painting my office, and then it came and looked so well. And just out this window, we have a mourning dove who actually literally just like gave birth. Like there's two little hatchlings in the nest that we just saw this morning, so it's very cute. So Teresa, nice to see you. Yes, these are my, not Beth Lennon, but these are my Mod Betty glasses. This is when I go from being regular old me to Mod Betty. So in any case, today my friends, we are talking about the cool vintage and retro places in South Carolina. Now, as many of you who have tuned in before know, but for anybody who's new, I'll give you a quick synopsis. I started this series really, like 10 weeks ago. Today on the 19th, 19. Anybody? Today's 19th, and today's the 19th episode that I've done on the official kind of retro roadmap type things. And what I do is I'm starting on the East Coast of the United States. You can almost see I've got this imitation Jasper Johns up here over what used to be our fireplace, and I'm starting on the East Coast East Coast, and I'm working my way kind of west, but now we're down. So we are going south on the East Coast. We are in South Carolina in our minds. Here, every time I'm here, I'm actually freaking out about my hair, but I am actually just in my living room. So those of you who think that I'm going to all these places, I would love to, but I'm being safe and I'm making sure you guys are safe too. So today we're going to talk about South Carolina. I have my handy high-tech map here just to give you an idea of what the state looks like and some various points of interest we are going to do. This is a fun, this was a fun state to research because really, with the exception of a couple of road trips that I took way like decades-ish, over here with my sister and my sisters, I really only been up into this neck of the woods, zooming through South Carolina en route to Atlanta, typically with Retro Road Husband. He was in a band that was actually managed by somebody in Atlanta, so they had a bit of a thing going there. But I have so many places to tell you about. And as I mention all the time, couple of things, I don't want to say house rules, but, well, you're kind of in my house, so you don't have to take off your shoes. Please be nice. But what I'll say is this. Take a look at the names of the people in the comment section around you. These are your compatriots. They're retro road mappers just like you are. And a lot of you, I see your faces, I see your little avatars, and I see your names every week. So maybe you'll see some names you start to recognize. And the other thing, too, is, as I always mention, with this being the South Carolina location video that I'm doing, if you have any favorite places in South Carolina, please share them. Share them in the comment section, because not only will I get to know about them, and maybe I know about them and maybe I don't. You know, I'm Maud Betty, but I don't know everything. And then the other thing is that people who are in the comment section with you now will see it, but when this video is over and I put it on the videos page, people who are unable to tune in today because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast will be able to watch it, and they will get to see your recommendations too. So to me, this is always kind of a communal effort. I happen to be the person on the screen simply because I've got the phone and I'm the hub, but that it doesn't mean I'm the only source of knowledge here. This is a group effort, and we are all in this together, and also whatever is going on in the universe right now. So let's all make it the best we can. So here's what we're gonna do. As I mentioned, and please do not follow me as far as directions go, but I'll give you a rough estimate as to the vague geographic locations of the places I'm going to talk about. So we're going to start up here as if we were coming down 95. And then we're going to head to the coast. We're going to head to the Grand Strand, Myrtle Beach, right? And then I thought, if this were me and I was in my car, what I would do is I would be here and I'd be like, well, I love the ocean. Let's see what else is going on. So we're going to truck our ways on down here. And then we're going to make our way back up to this direction. Then we're going to hop around because, as you can see, I don't have a lot of pins in the middle of this map. It's interesting that there are various reasons why there may not be any vintage or retro places around, but in my research, here are the places that I found. But what that one will do is we'll talk about it as if we were going up Route 85, not 95, but 85, that kind of clips off this little corner here, and it goes right from North Carolina, little South Carolina, and then it goes out into Georgia, which will most likely be, what day is today? Yeah, it will be Thursday's state will be Georgia. So anyhow, that's kind of where we're going to go. And the first place I want to tell you about is south of the border. So the reason I'm going to tell you about south of the border is because literally it's pretty much the first place that is south of the North Carolina, South Carolina border on 95. And I love that I'm seeing some recommendations already coming in. So awesome. Keep it up, you guys. Thank you so much. But I wanted to talk a little bit about south of the border because that is one of the first places that when I took my first major retro road map road trip all these years ago, before I was Maud Betty, before I had Retro Roadmap, when I was just a regular old gal who loved the cool old kitschy stuff, my sister and I thought we were going to drive from Boston to Key West, and in like a week or two, I don't even know if we had 2 weeks. Oh my God, we so underestimated how big this country is and how long it takes you to get from one place to another. So we kind of were exhausted by the time we got to South Carolina. So when we had seen all the classic, what do you call those? The billboards. If anybody had ever gone down 95 and maybe up 95 too, or some of the other major roads that go towards where south of the border is, which is in Dillon, South Carolina, you would see these billboards that would tell you you were getting closer and closer. I actually have a video, I should try to find it, that we took of some of these kitschy billboards that we were seeing at night as we were driving. Well, we get there in the middle of the night and we were so exhausted, we actually stayed there. So not only is south of the border is kind of a compound, a tourist destination, built in 1950. It's actually over 350 acres, and it's got like some restaurants, a bunch of cheesy gift shops, but it also has a little motel. Exactly, you're always a wiener at Pedro's. And so we ended up crashing there for one day and then having the luxury of going through like every single tacky gift shop the next day because we were so tired we didn't want to get on the road again. But in any case, you can't miss south of the border, not only because of those billboards, but also because you'll see two things. You'll see like this observation tower that looks like a giant sombrero. It's all kind of Mexican themed, and because you're south of the border, and nowadays that kind of humor has kind of fallen out of favor, and there are different, people's approaches to, how seriously or, how to get, how upset you want to get to be about it. But that was kind of the motif of the south of the border, was this kind of Mexican thing. They had a lot of imported Mexican goods that they would sell there. But then the other thing you will see is a giant, I think it's 90, where did I wrote it down? Oh yeah, the observation tower is 200 feet tall, and then there's this giant Pedro sign. Oh, I forgot, duh. And the Pedro sign is 97 feet tall. And if you see here, remember how sometimes I told you Maud Betty has a collection of snow domes? These are two of my prized ones because I think like south of the border is so tacky. And even when we went there decades ago, it was kind of past its prime, but it was still there. But if you look, see that guy holding the sign? That's Pedro. And you can actually pretty much stand under his legs and get your picture taken. This one has got one of those, I'll do this. You got a little teeter-totter in there with Pedro. And then I actually have this other one. So as I said, these are my favorites. And you'll also see Pedro in this one too, because he's so iconic. He's like an icon of the road. And this is, it's not Friday, March 20th. If I had thought of it, I would have said it was Tuesday. In any case, south of the border. You can stay there if you want. You don't have to. But I highly recommend just stopping there, stretch your legs, use the facilities, buy something, just take it in, because those kind of independently owned roadside attractions are something that just, they don't exist anymore. Everything is so homogenized nowadays, and everything is so like theme and corporately done that when you see places that are still kind of holding on to their original authentic roots, to me, speaking of authentic roots, Waka Waka, these are places you just have to stop by. The one thing I realized, and I actually added it to my notes afterwards because I was thinking about things, because I also love to tell you about I love to tell you about different foods and things that are like indigenous to one of the states that we're talking about. And here's one that my sisters and I discovered when we were at south of the border. And then I later discovered that they actually make it there. So there is this wonderful old brand of ginger ale, soda, ginger ale, called Blenheim. It was an old family recipe. It was actually made in Blenheim, South Carolina. They don't make it anymore. The people at south of the border make it now. And here's the crazy thing. Like, I grew up drinking ginger ale because my grandmother had it. We had these little green bottles of Canada Dry, little I think they had the screw tops then. She always made us drink it with a straw, because to drink out of a can or a bottle was, you were a heathen. But in any case, you know, that was something that you would drink that, and you would eat saltines when your tummy was feeling a little bit rumbly. Oh my gosh. So the Blenheim, I will warn you, it's got a kick to it, like ginger, like not just ginger ale, just ginger. And it's got a couple of different levels. And we were like, oh, how spicy can it be? It can be spicy. Blenheim, I think there's the number 3 is the hot. Number 5 is the not so hot. And the number 9 is the diet. I dare you to buy 1 bottle of the very hot and see what you like it. Maybe you like something with a kick, you know. Other than that, you can also just be like, hey, it's hot, it's hot. But that's Blenheim ginger ale. You can get it many places, but it kind of originates at south of the border. I feel like I'm being a flight attendant when I'm using my hand gestures this way. But if I had a bottle of it here, the other interesting thing about the Blenheim is that you can only get it, it only comes in 12-ounce glass bottles. So that's a cool thing. Betsy Kroger, you're in South Carolina. Oh, that's awesome. Well, hopefully I'm choosing some vintage and retro places that well represent your state. So I love doing this because since I don't live in these states that I talk about, like last night when we were talking about Los Angeles and California, these are the things that as a visitor to a state, these are the kinds of places that will make me stop, make me spend my money, spend my time, take my pictures, tell other people about them. And so these are the places I like to encourage. So we were at south of the border, and then you're kind of at a bit of a fork in the road, right? You get down a little bit, and you can go west or you can go east. Now, if you go east, you can go towards Myrtle Beach, and that's what my sisters and I did because we had heard about it, and it sounded like one of those beachy towns that has a bunch of, you know, tacky touristy things, which we love. So we would head down to there. But before we get there, there's a couple of places that I thought were of interest that are in a vague neck of the woods if you happen to be hungry. And as I said, I always talk a lot about food on the road. And so there's one place, okay, I'll give you the sneaky. This is what Maud Betty would do. Florence, South Carolina. 2 places immediately caught my eye. One is the Thunderbird and one is the Sunday House. Upon further inspection, the Thunderbird used to be an independently owned motel and restaurant. Now it's a Motel 6, but it still has this glorious neon sign above it, and it's part of the Thunderbird Country Buffet restaurant, right? Glorious sign, really cool. And yes, you could go to that restaurant if you choose to do so. However, there's a cute little place called the Sunday House, Sunday, like ice cream sundae, that is in Florence, that's been around since 1949. Looks like it's wicked easy to get to off of 95. And one of the things, I'll tell you, I will be like totally charmed by the most random things. You can always get me with a neon sign. And if you have ice cream sundaes, that will get me going there too. And then here's the funny thing. They're famous for their gyros, you know, the Greek kind of pita with the lamb, shaved lamb and stuff like that. But then I happened to see that somebody had posted a picture of their meal and they got a baked potato. Where can you ever get a baked potato like at a fast food place? Well, actually, technically, I assume Wendy's has them, but every time I tried to get one at Wendy's, it's like 20 minutes. But I just love the fact that they serve baked potatoes. So that's the Sunday House in Florence. So that's kind of in Florence. And then check this out. I talk about chains and how I'm not a fan of them, but I do have a soft spot, as you know, for chains that used to be around and they were maybe regional chains. Regional chains, I don't, you know, I kind of have a soft spot for those, but also like the remaining one, the lone dinosaur who's like, where are all my other, you know, chain guys? I'm the only one left. This is a dinosaur, just so you know. But this dinosaur, if I could do my hands like this, would be shaped like Yogi Bear. Because there used to be a chain, it started in I think 1968 in this South Carolina, called Yogi Bear Fried Chicken, honey fried chicken. Because, you know, Yogi Bear and bears like honey. And there's only one of these Yogi Bear fried chicken places left in the country, and that is in Hartsville, South Carolina. It's got a cute sign that has, you know, Yogi Bear on it. The boxes you get your chicken in, kind of like the ones you would get from Maryland Fried Chicken, have little graphics on them. And I am also a sucker for fried chicken. So to me, this is a place that I would totally go out of my way to just get some fried chicken. So that is the Yogi Bear Honey Fried Chicken in Hartsville. All right. So those are a couple of places to go kind of en route. But now we're going to shoot to the coast. And we're going to head to Myrtle Beach. Now, Myrtle Beach is a very popular tourist attraction. And so the places that you can find that have not been renovated and meant to keep up with the times are really few and far between because it is such a popular place. The one thing that I thought was kind of neat when I discovered things about Myrtle Beach is, I don't know if you, I might have mentioned this in previous episodes, is that, oh my God, time out while I get freaked out about my hair. There we go. I love also indigenous dances, you know, like, I don't know about square dances, but here in the Philly area, there are line dances that only people know who they go see this guy, Jerry Blavitt, right? And so there are certain dances that only people in this area know. Well, Myrtle Beach is known for a dance called the Shag, right? It's called the Shag, and there's actually, it's a couples dance that was kind of based on the jitterbug, but kind of different. And it is a huge phenomenon of kind of back in the day down in Myrtle Beach. They called Myrtle Beach, I saw somebody up there calling it the Redneck Riviera. And you know what cracks me up about that is I love the ocean, and the East Coast is where I live. But so many places on the ocean call other places the Redneck Riviera, so you're not alone. I'm thinking of that place down in Delaware, and there's also like in Massachusetts there would be the Irish Riviera. I always think that's Falmouth. Other people think it's Scituate. I don't know. But in any case, we're in Myrtle Beach and we're talking about the Shag. So the Shag is a dance. They call the dancers shaggers. It's a partner dance. The old timers do it. And there's actually, in the Guinness Book of World Records, there was the largest Carolina Shag dance, had almost 750 people doing this dance at the same time. So if you're in Myrtle Beach, if you see anything that references the Shag, it's not the, you know, tiki, where's my book here? There's an excellent artist that we love whose name is Shag that we love. And then also, it's not that, but it's a dance that's famous in Myrtle Beach. Also, if you are interested in this, my two sisters are younger than me. They were the ones that let me know that there was a movie came out in like the 90s called Shag, or The Shag, with Bridget Fonda and Phoebe Cates, and it's based on girls in the early 1960s going to Myrtle Beach. So maybe if you want to see the places that used to be around in Myrtle Beach there, that would be a good movie to see. And nowadays, where we're all hanging out in the house, why not watch a fun movie about Myrtle Beach in the 60s? A couple of other places I want to tell you about in the Myrtle Beach area before we get on to other places. And this is my absolute favorite place down there. The Gay Dolphin. The Gay Dolphin. The Happy Dolphin, people. We're not going there. Gay Dolphin. It's the oldest, largest, most unique gift shop in Myrtle Beach, and I attest to that. When I went there decades ago, and I believe Donna, I can't see your comments, but I know Donna Wilhelm, she and her family went down there, and I said, please, whatever you do when you're in Myrtle Beach, please let me know if the Gay Dolphin is still open, and it is. It's been open since the 1940s. It's multiple floors, and it is filled with gifts of all levels of taste and quality, and I just love it. When I was there the last time, it has this giant place where you can go up, and you can actually go up this really tall tower, and you can look out over the ocean, which is pretty cool. When I was there, and I got to go back there because I would love, okay, anybody, thank you, Donna. Thank you for letting me know it's still there. And I will ask anybody else who ever goes to Myrtle Beach and goes to the Gay Dolphin, see if they still have a wall that's all those little license plates that have the names on them, because I love those. And I remembered seeing that they literally had like a giganto wall of those. So that's the Gay Dolphin, a place in Maud Betty's heart. Love that place. Another cool, neat little thing that is still at Myrtle Beach, luckily, is they have a historic carousel. It's at the Pavilion Nostalgia Park now, and it's a 1912 Herschel Spillman. It was moved there in 1950, and it has all sorts of originally carved animals and menagerie animals, and I love the old carousel. So I'm so psyched when I see a Seaside place that has an old carousel. Lastly, in that area, now there's going to be a ton of places to look at when you are in Myrtle Beach, and they're all of varying degrees of, like, you know, renovated, old, new, things like that. The one place when I took a quick look for like a cute little vintage or retro motel, the Waikiki Village Motel actually looks really cute, very affordable, and somebody had mentioned that the decor was modern yet still in keeping with the 1965. So that would be the place that I would want to check out if I were in Myrtle Beach. And then of course you've got, you know, you can go to the beach and all that. So a couple of places on the coast right there. Different things you can do. One of the things I wanted to mention about South Carolina too, I always mention drive-in movie theaters. Peter and Candy, nice to see you. So we talk about drive-in movie theaters, and so check this out. There are only three in the entire state of South Carolina. So that could be a thing that if you go to South Carolina, it's an easily achievable thing to say, I want to go and see a movie at each one, all of the drive-in movie theaters in South Carolina. So there's only 3 of them, and you can find those on, actually, driveinmovie.com seems to be a good place to go for that info. So kudos to them for being the hotspot of info and updated info for drive-in movie theaters. Oh, and speaking of updated info, just so everybody knows, so I always speak of these places that I'm talking about, redundant, speak of these places that I am recommending as if they are in existence. I mean, they're all technically had been open prior to COVID, but so I am giving you information about them as if things were normal outside. We know that that's not normal, so do your due diligence and make sure that places are open and safe when you go on that road trip that I see, Heidi, you wish you could go on, and oh my God, I think we all would love to just see someplace other than the 4 walls of our house. Now I'm voguing, and I thought I was being a mime. So in any case, please just know that when I speak of these places, it's as if they were prior to this, okay? I don't want to lead anybody astray, all right? But what I do want to do is lead you to a bunch more places, because I've got some more to share about South Carolina. So now we're kind of trucking our way down the ocean, and a lot of this is very bucolic. There's not a lot of stuff going on. But when you get down to the Charleston area, there are a few interesting things. Now, this is one of the things that I noticed in Charleston is looks like a really cute little place, but a lot of the older businesses, some of them have been renovated, and like for example, it's the Riviera Theatre. Now I saw a picture of that and I was like, ooh, this is exciting. It's got this beautiful Art Deco facade with neon. It's actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places, opened in 1939. Really gorgeous place. However, I only say the however because it has actually been turned into a conference center. Now, check me out. I'm glad it exists at all, but you're probably not going to go to Charleston and be like, oh, I want to go to a conference center, unless you go to a conference. Peg, that's so cool that you guys love Charleston. So because it looked like there were some really neat places. Here's one thing that I would have. I would be excited to research this more because there's 2 hotels I want to mention that are in downtown Charleston. And the interesting thing is that they are on kind of opposite sides of a park in downtown. One of them is the Francis Marion Hotel. I believe it was Virginia that we talked about, that there was a Francis Marion up there. But this is one that was opened in 1924. And it is on the Historic Hotels of America. Very classic, old school, historic hotel, and I love those. Like I would love to stay in those anytime I go traveling because I love showing people how cool it is that they are taking care of an old business like that, you know, that they are appreciating that kind of historic structure. So there's the Francis Marion Hotel, and on the other side of this park is one called the Dewberry. Now, here's the funny thing I noticed is that the Dewberry was built in 1964, so only 40 years different from the Francis Marion. And it wasn't even built as a hotel. It was actually built as like a federal building. But now they have renovated it into a hotel and kind of that mid-century modern vibe that I like so much. Kind of Mad Men era, stuff like that. And, oh my God. Aren't we all just kind of sick of our hair by now? In any case. Oh, that's so cool that Peg and Janet, that you guys have been around. Oh, yay. Good stuff. Good stuff. And here's the thing about any of these hotels. It's great if you can stay in them. And it is also, if you can't, if your time or budget doesn't allow, oftentimes there will be a bar or a restaurant that maybe you can go check out. Yeah, the Dewberry. Oh, thank you, Peg. Oh, this whole thing, I'm ready to, we're all there, I'm sure. But anyhow, the Dewberry also has a rooftop deck, which I love that kind of thing where you can stand up on the roof. Here in Philly, there's a place, the Bach, I think it's the Bach building in downtown in South Philly that used to be a high school, and there's a rooftop deck on there now. Absolutely just one of my favorite places to be. So that's in Charleston. Another really neat kind of old school place. I'm not in the market for any menswear, but if you need a suit, Berlin's for Men is a menswear store that has been around since 1883, and it has a really cool neon sign on the front. So one of those old school, got to get your suit type places on. And it looks like a cool old place. So that to me looks like a kind of town that'll be interesting to roam around and discover. And I love how the stoner ladies are putting some recommendations up. I can only see a handful of them as I go by. But thank you so much for putting those in there. Moving right along. So, and I didn't know, actually, Joanne, you do yoga there? I would love that too. Getting my Om on. I'm doing a lot of yoga now that we're, doing this stuff. It's really good. In any case, you don't need to talk about, Maud Betty doing yoga because I want to keep on trucking along here. Slightly outside of, I can't find it on the map, but slightly outside of Charleston, there is the oldest pharmacy in South Carolina. The oldest pharmacy in South Carolina has been owned and operated independently since 1871, and it's called Currants. Again, cue the sign for me mispronouncing something. Guerin', Currants Pharmacy in Somerville. Somerville spelled like the season of summer, not Somerville, Massachusetts. And this is one of the few pharmacies that I'm recommending that does not have a soda fountain, but it's an old school pharmacy, and I think you can get penny candies and things like that there. So if you need to, anytime you're on the road, you need like Band-Aids or headache medicine or bacitracin or whatever is going to make you feel better on your trip, try to find an old school or an independent pharmacy for that type of thing. Peg is mentioning Leon's Oyster Bar. I did see that, actually. I didn't know how vintage or retro it was, but I actually put that on my own list to be like, not retro, but check this place out. So that's good to know. Thank you, Peg, for making that recommendation. So I do, when I can't get myself a fried clam, I love me some fried oysters. Just saying. Okay. Now, Craig Nye, you are often on these episodes, and I apologize if I missed your name going through, but this is a place that I would recommend anyways, but especially for Craig, because Craig told me that he likes the old school department stores, and so here's an old school department store that I discovered. It's called Weeks Department Store in St. George, South Carolina. Family owned and operated since 1944 and still open, to this day. So Craig Nye, that's a shout out to you. And it just looked like an adorable old school family place to go do your shopping. So again, spend your money where your heart is, people. So now we're going to get into, I realize you guys, actually, you're making me pretty hungry with all these notions of restaurants that are flying by. And I wanted to mention a couple of foods that I found very interesting for South Carolina. So one of them is barbecue. So we talked about barbecue in North Carolina, and I will not pretend to be. There are so many people out there who are like the foodiersons, food experts. I am not that. And I did start to fall down the rabbit hole when I started to research this, but I want to kind of give everybody, including myself, like a general working knowledge of some of these things. And so when I talk about barbecue in South Carolina, there's a specific style that they're famous for. We talked last week, not that there's going to be a quiz, about whole hogs. So they barbecue the whole pig. And then also for South Carolina, there's like a mustard sauce, a mustard-based sauce that they are famous for. So that's like the South Carolina kind. Couple of random places that looked pretty interesting. Oh, yay, Craig, nice to see you. Glad you're here. Sheely's in Batesburg is known. It's only been open since 1969, and it's a buffet. And here's a little snippet of reality. So I was like, oh my God, it's a buffet. I love buffets because you can get like a little bit of everything. You know, you don't have to commit, like you get your side and you don't like it, so you can get little bits and pieces. And then I was like, oh crap, I wonder how buffets will survive the COVID. So hopefully they will put a lot of sneeze guards on and we can still go to buffets. But Sheely's in Batesburg is a place that's known for their barbecue and their buffet. Also, the Midway Barbecue in Buffalo, South Carolina. The folks at Road Food Books and roadfood.com recommend them. They have been around since 1941, and they call themselves the hash and chicken stew capital of the world. Hash is a way of that's one of their barbecue styles, is making a hash out of it. So yeah, I would check that out if I was on the road. And Sweatman's Barbecue, sweat like hot flash sweat. Sweatman's Barbecue in Holly Hill. Now it's only been open as a restaurant since 1977, which frankly to me, you guys, sounds like just yesterday. You know, I'm like, oh, that's too new. But it's not. Time's flying. And that's in Holly Hill. And the neat thing is that it's kind of family owned and run in an old house. So I thought that was kind of cool. So there's a couple of places if you want to check out. I mean, you can go deep diving in. There's all sorts of barbecue people, and I ain't going to compete with them people. But that's a little bit of enough to get you started so you know what to order. Yeah. Now, Brian says he had barbecue baked peanuts. Okay, good. I said, oh, because as soon as I read that, my computer said it was something went wrong. But we're okay. I have never had barbecue baked peanuts. Like baked beans only using peanuts. Well, they both are. Are they legumes? Goober peas? Something like that? How cool. Yes, if I saw barbecue baked peanuts on a menu, I would feel obliged to order them myself. So speaking of some other foods. Oh yeah, good. Because I thought, oh my, almost done? Okay, so another food that is famous in South Carolina, and if any of you, this is when we're talking about this neck of the woods up here, like if you're on 85 trucking along to go to like Atlanta, if you're going through Gaffney, South Carolina, you will see, now everybody calls it something different. Officially it's called the peachoid. Peach, you know the peach? Peachoid. It's a giant peach that is actually a water tower, but it's a peach on top of a stand that you can see for miles when you're going down the highway. We call it the peach butt because you know it's a little peach, little peach cheeks. But when you see that, it's such a landmark. And don't you love that when you're traveling someplace and you're like, there we are, we're almost X amount of time away because we see that landmark. And so the peach butt is in Gaffney. And then the cool thing is about the peachoid, rather, it's only been there since 1981. I mention it because it is such one of those giant things on the side of the road that you can't help but notice and have a sense of place. And then the great thing is that not a few moments later on the side of the road, after you see this giant peach, and you realize you want some peaches, that, what do you see? But you see Lemon's Peach Farm. Lemon, Lemmons. Not Lennon like me and not like Liz Lemon, but Lemm, Lemon's Peach Farm in Gaffney. You just go right off the highway and they sell peaches. You can get, I don't want to do my, who is that? The guy that was in Forrest Gump, you know, they got peach jelly, they got peach preserves, they got peach salsa, you know, they've got all sorts of peachy things. Glad I'm not the only one who refers to the peach butt as the butt. But that's a peach soda. I think we got some peach tonic, I would call it, but peach soda there. So Lemon's Peach Farm in Gaffney. You know you've been had by advertising when you're driving and you had no idea you wanted a peach, and then all of a sudden this giant peach is in front of you. Next thing you know, you want a peach. Oh well, sometimes, as long as you realize you're being played and you've been had, that's okay. So in any case, so that is in Gaffney. Now we're heading into Spartanburg, and there's a couple of different places that I definitely want to mention in Spartanburg. And let's see, which one do I want to start with first? Well, the first one I will start with is the one that we actually went to the last time we were down in that neck of the wood, and that's the Sugar and Spice Drive-In. Now it used to be, it's a restaurant. It used to be a drive-in with car hop service. They don't do the car hop service anymore, but they've got this crazy awesome corrugated metal kind of carport that you can pull your car underneath when you go to park it and then walk inside. So the Sugar and Spice has been around since 1961. Cool vintage sign out with the front. It was opened by a Greek immigrant family and still run by the same family, which is great. And then when you go in, it's almost like cafeteria style. Like you go and you order your stuff and you grab a tray and you go through. They are known for their burgers. They've got a fabulous burger. But then also because of their Greek heritage, they are known for their souvlaki and different things like that. Also, they have baklava for dessert. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this last night when we were talking about Los Angeles, and yesterday was our wedding anniversary, but we got some Greek food to go from a place here in Phoenixville. So good. So I was kind of jonesing. So as soon as I saw Greek food on the Sugar and Spice menu, I lit up. Also, this was fun too. So you know how when you can get something, you can get like a plate and it includes things. They say a thing is called a plenty. And a plenty plate comes with fries, onion rings, and coleslaw. So that is a plenty of food to eat. But that is at the Sugar and Spice in Spartanburg. The other place that people had recommended to me that is of that ilk, of that kind of institutional, been around for a wicked long time, is the Beacon. Now the Beacon has actually been around a lot longer than the Sugar and Spice. The Beacon opened in 1946. And it is a destination for burgers and things like that. And they are also known for, I guess, the aplenty thing is a local way of saying, you get the plate with stuff on it. I will admit, the Beacon, we drove past it, but it was, I have to say this, I look for authentic vintage charm. I look for places that I want to encourage people to embrace the old school look that they have and not feel like they need to change it up. And also that feeling of stepping back in time and connecting with the past. I love that about places. So the Beacon is wicked famous in its own right. It does a land office business, but it also is kind of a bit institutional looking as far as the way it looks. So here's what I would recommend. Maybe you could go to the Beacon. You don't have to eat there, or you can eat there. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you. But what I would do is I would go there and get a sweet tea. So sweet tea, iced tea is a southern thing, and they are known, according to the Beacon, they say that they sell more tea than any other single restaurant in the USA. So to me, I would go, because they've got limited calories, limited tummy space, I would go to the Beacon, I would get myself a sweet tea for the road, I would eat at the Sugar and Spice, or if I happen to be extra hungry, I might go, or I just want something different, I might go to this place called the Flounder. So the Flounder has been around since 1969. It's called Flounder's Fish Camp. And it looks kind of retro-y on the inside, but the thing that cracked me up about it is that when you get your food, you get them on these old metal, they may not be old, but these big metal trays with the little divides in them, almost like TV dinners, or if you were at school lunch, or I don't know, if you were in jail maybe, like those metal trays. And I just thought that was kind of charming. So I might try that out if I had a hankering for food, fish or whatever. So those are all in Spartanburg. So you have your choice of where to go. This is a place that I am so excited to share with you, because this was one of the gems, and I found out about this from somebody else. So there's a gentleman, you know, I talked about there's barbecue people who like barbecue is their beat, that all they do is talk about barbecue. Well, the man who's the hamburger guy, George Motz, I have his Hamburger America book, and he was the one, his book is the one that helped us to the fact that the Northgate Soda Shop in Greenville, South Carolina, is the place to go not only for a burger, but for a very special South Carolina inspired burger. And what that is the pimento cheeseburger. Now, has anybody had pimento cheese? Okay, I have, and it is definitely a southern thing, and when it's melted on a burger, it's really good. So pimento cheese, for the uninitiated, is basically a combination of like shredded cheese, and it can be anything from sharp cheddar to Velveeta or American, mayonnaise, or salad dressing, and pimentos. You know, pimentos, those really, they're kind of round, red, what do you call them? Like peppers, but they're so mild, they barely have any flavor. But all that is all chopped up, and pimento cheese, you can put it on a cracker, you can put it on a burger, you can have it with almost anything. And I have become a big fan of the pimento cheese, and I just love, love, love that there are still regional foods that are known for in certain names. So, yes, so pimento cheeseburger. Go to the Northgate Soda Shop in Greenville, South Carolina. It's a tiny little place. They have a counter. They've got a great Art Deco looking counter on one side, or you can sit in a chair and tables. They've got a handful of those. And they also have, bless you. They also have other things on the menu too, but I would say maybe if you're with two people, one person gets a pimento cheeseburger, another one gets something else. They have, actually, this was an interesting thing. They have something that they called Cincinnati steak. And Cincinnati was spelled with 2 T's. I don't know if that was a misprint or just a regionalism, but it seemed like it was a bologna sandwich. So I have a feeling if we went there, I'd be getting the burger. Retro Road Husband, he's all into the hot dogs and bolognas, things like that. So yes, Northgate Soda Shop in Greenville, South Carolina, opened in 1947, surrounded by vintage memorabilia all over the place, all sorts of like old soda pop bottles and different things like that. So pimento cheese slices, cheddar cheese with pimento. Yes, oh, that sounds so good. Anyhow, Northville Soda Shop. The other neat thing in Greenville, so here's, again, the thing that I love about travel, and I say this and not to be like, well, we can't do this because we're not traveling, because this, what's happening right here with me telling you about things is I'm now giving you things to think about. Now you know about them, and now you can do your own things. Oh, I'm glad to know that somebody's going to go to Greenville. So Murdog, you may also know of a place called Shindig Furnishings. So this is a bit more, if I was to wear my mid-mod Betty, mid-century modern, mid-mod Betty hat as opposed to my retro roadmap hat. So check this out. These organic kind of inadvertent connections happen when you and we're all talking here online, but also in real life when you travel. And so the only reason I even know about a place called Shindig Furnishings, which is a mid-century modern shop in Greenville, South Carolina, is because when we were in Ohio, we were in Columbus, Ohio, we stopped at a place called Dawn of Retro, and chatting with the woman who owned it, and there was a couple there buying a lot of stuff. And lo and behold, we started chatting, and I said, I love to travel. I love mid-century modern things. Rich Wilhelm, you know, it's totally the lattice of coincidence that you and I firmly believe in. And they said, oh, we own a vintage and retro, like a mid-century modern shop in Greenville, South Carolina. If you're ever in the neighborhood, come on by. They gave me a card. And then the next thing you know, like, I don't know anything. I didn't even know where Greenville was on the map until I looked for it. But then I have like kind of a connection. Like I could go there and say, hey, remember we met in Ohio? Cool stuff. Now I'm telling you that. I'm passing the card to you. So you could go there, or you could go to any of these places and say, yeah, this crazy woman who won't stop touching her hair online with the pink glasses, Maud Betty, told me about this place, and I'm so excited to go to it. So It's all an exchange of information and energy. And that is the Shindig Furniture in Greenville that I kind of talking all about that. The other neat thing I found out about Greenville, and again, I don't know if these things, I don't know how these things will be handled once we are post-COVID or past what's going on right now, but I do feel it's important to mention. So Greenville Mod is like a modernism. It's a collective of people, kind of like us retro road mappers, right? People who all like certain things, you know, cool vintage things. But then this is a little bit more mid-century modern specific, right? And there are little different communities across the country that have these, you know, collections of people that say, ooh, you know, this is something I'm into. And then they do house tours. So if you have a really cool mid-century house, which I sometimes would love to have. I love my house. It's funky. It's mid-century because it was built in the 50s, but it's not mid-century modern. But anyhow, they have house tours where you invite people in and you get to see other people's cool houses, and people get to show off their cool houses. I mean, it's kind of a win-win if you like looking at stuff. And so they were supposed to have a modern house tour coming up. And rightly so, smartly so, they are postponing it until we figure out how we can all safely get back together in close quarters. In the meantime, oh, you know what would be neat? I should reach out to them and say that they should do it like online, because then like we could all go. Wouldn't you love that? Like, who doesn't love? I'm sure, trust me, you guys, if I were me looking at me and this was not me, and I'm kind of rambling at the moment, but I would be totally saying, I wonder what that is behind her head. What's that thing over there? Like, oh, that's her teddy bear, you know? So who isn't curious about what goes on behind the scenes in somebody's house? And now that we're all living there, you know, we're spending so much time in our houses. We are all a bit curious, you know? And then as somebody who, you know, we all put stuff out on display in our houses, we do it for a reason because they have stories. So in any case, I will do that. I will reach out to them and say they should do it online, okay? And I'm saying that I work best with external accountability, and I've just given it to you guys. But in any case, that was Greenville Modernism, and oh crap, that looks like it might have been my last page. So anyhow, that was taking us, so as a recap, we were at south of the border. Then we went to Myrtle Beach. Then we were down in Charleston. And then we kind of shot up here and we went to a few barbecue places. And boy, my tummy's full. And then we were up here on 85. We saw the Peach Butt. And then we decided we needed some peach salsa or some peach soda. And then we could not decide for the life of us where we wanted to eat in Spartansburg. So we ate at all of them because it's a dream and we can eat as much as we want and not get full or gain weight. Isn't that lovely? And then we ended up here in Greenville, and we were having a pimento cheeseburger and deciding to go see somebody's modern house. So there we go. That is Maud Betty's quick tour of South Carolina. It is, I didn't even count the states yet, but we started in Maine and we've worked, the royal we, I've worked organically through the New England states and New York, New Jersey, you know, Maryland and stuff. We started going out. We did Tennessee and Kentucky. All of these, by the way, you can find on the Retro Road Map Facebook. I'm pointing down like this as if I'm on the interwebs. But they're all archived there if you ever want to catch up. And yeah, and so this was South Carolina, and I think so it only, again, I'm kind of going like as if I was on a road trip. So we started up here in the East because that's where I'm from. And so Thursday's episode is going to be about Georgia, and then probably next week we'll do Florida, listen to me, Florida, my Florida room. But every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock, even when I screw up and put the wrong time on the Facebook invite, Michael G, thank you for helping me to that. I appreciate you catching my back, or you know, getting my back for that. But I show up at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays to tell you about the cool vintage, not to tell you about, but to share the cool vintage places that I think are exciting to visit, so that not only can we avoid what's going on, outside here for a little bit, but also so we can be informed and excited and figure out when we are released, when we're let off the leash and we can go anywhere and it's all going to be safe and good, that we decide what's the places that are important to us, Like to me, I would say with this one, I totally am wanting to check out that mid-century modern motel or hotel in Charleston and have like a cocktail on the roof. Like that sounds kind of glamorous to me, or I definitely do, because I haven't been to south of the border in X many years. I want to go back there again, and even just if it's pulling off to the side of the road and getting a Blenheim and saying hey to Pedro, I want to do that. Who knows, maybe stars will align and Greenville will have its modern house tour and I'll be able to go on one of those. But to me, this is just a fun way of being able to share what I love in a shorter amount of time that it takes me to write a book, because it takes me a wicked long time to write a book. But now what I know, and they're all cool places that I think we all want to survive. So when we know where to shop and where to go, spend our money where our hearts are, and figure out where you want to go with your life, and you want to go to these places, so you get behind the wheel, and that's retro roadmap. That's just drive your life, Betty talking. It's like, I've got a destination. I want to go there. How do I get there? And then you drive there. So, any case. So, yay. I am so glad. It seems like this episode resonated with everybody. And here's my promise to you. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to continue to show up every Tuesday and Thursday until we do all the states. And then after that, we'll figure out other fun things to do. If we're in, kind of shelter in place for this long. But just remember, even where you are, to spend your time, your short time on this planet, spend your money, your time, and your heart on the things that are important to you. And that's how you're going to have a good life. So, as I said, I love seeing everybody in the comment section. I can't wait to go back and see some of the places that people have recommended. And tune in on Thursday at 3 o'clock, 3 to 4, where I will be sharing Georgia and Atlanta and all sorts of fun places. Yes, Michael G. And when we're done with the U.S., I will need some guidance on Canada, so I'll need some help with that. And love seeing all you guys. And I'm trying this out for size. Let me see if I can get this right as my little sign-off phrase. Remember to just drive your life to the destinations you dream of. We'll see. All right, bye.